My name is Salim Amin, son of Muhammad Amin, world-famous photojournalist. This was Dad's favorite city, Addis Ababa. 14 years ago, Dad was in the thick of it. He rode into town on the leading tank, filming the crowds, ecstatic at the overthrow of a hated regime. Colonel Mengistu was ousted at last, the presidential palace abandoned in unseemly haste. Mengistu had cut and run, leaving the flotsam and jetsam of a 14-year reign of terror to the mercy of souvenir hunters. These were dangerous streets in 1991 as pockets of Mengistu supporters dug in. But there was another world at the Hilton Hotel where the world's press cavorted and drank. The hacks had had a pretty good war, and now it was all over. Or so it seemed. But on June 4th, the sky was lit up by an almighty explosion. Filming from his bedroom balcony was Dad, and watching the pyrotechnic spectacular with him was Michael Burke and Colin Blaine, both BBC correspondents. They all decided to get out into town to see what on earth was going on.
Vehicles were in short supply, and of course your dad being your dad,
he had a car.
He had a car. He had hired a taxi about a week earlier, and he just didn't bother giving it back. So we had a Mercedes taxi with the meter still running for a week, but it was ours and we could use it. The decision was taken that there would be good pictures, there'd be interesting pictures. I wanted to be there, and there were only a few seats. You know, the Mercedes could only take 5, and so 5 of us went down there. We thought we were going in for the aftermath. We didn't realise that the big bang was very much still to come. It was, and it was some bang. I mean, it must have been one of the biggest explosions ever in Africa.
So the camera team drove off in the direction of the explosions.
But it's quite something coming here now and seeing, even all these years later, there's still
this amount
live and dangerous stuff lying around. And this is only a fraction of what there was. It's scary, even today. I think we probably better move on.
Mengistu's army was the biggest in Africa, and 14 years on there are still rusting and unstable shells, detonators and hand grenades.
Michael Burke and I were immediately behind. It was not possible to walk abreast. It was just walking down in a line. And as we walked down, that was when there was suddenly this most ferocious bang.
We were all thrown in different directions, and I think Colin Blaine, the radio reporter, and I were slightly protected by the wall. But for it seemed like about 3 minutes, the air was just full of metal and masonry falling all over us, and dust and noise.
The damage was to his arm. His hand was fine. His hand was a perfect hand. But then from the wrist to the shoulder, it was horrible. You know, it was shredded. Some of the bones had been blown away. It was just dreadful. And he must have been suffering terrible pain. He kept asking me, am I going to die? And of course, the only thing you can do when someone is like that is to reassure them, even though I didn't know, but was to say, no, you're going to be fine. Everything will be fine. We'll get you out. It's only your arm. And so he showed great fortitude. He was very brave. I mean, it must have been terrible. I had to leave him because we needed a vehicle. And I ran.